Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dogs and cats, turtles and goldfish, welcome to round 20 of Retro Throwdown. Not to mention our very first episode of 2024, people. So happy belated New Year. And I'm your co host. My name is Jex Russell. And with me, right over here, is my co host, Mr. deKe Williamson. And
Yo,
if this is your first time joining us, it goes a little something like this. Every now and again, deKe and I, we're going to take two albums, we're going to put them head to head, and we're going to give them scores based on the production, the artwork, the music, obviously, things we like, things we don't like. We put them in a blender, we give them scores out of 20 and see who comes out. The champion. And all this in 30 minutes or less. And it happens right here on the Distortion Den. The Distortion Den. So the two albums that will be competing tonight were actually picked by our good friend, Mr. Tim Derling of Tim's Vinyl Confessions. He understood the assignment because he knows that we like to pick two albums that have a certain degree of common ground. So the two albums that he picked for us tonight were both released in 1985, but not only that, they were released 4 days apart from one another. The
ah,
album, the albums in question are Motley Crue, Theater of Pain. Oh, there you go. There's deKe with the wax. And it's going up against none other than Australian boys, Akadaka, AC/DC with Fly on the Wall. Look at that. So many formats tonight, folks. So, with that, as usual, we like to go in order of release. So, deKe, why don't you start us off with Le Théâtre de la Douleur?
whoa. And call Tim. I forgot that Tim was the one who actually suggested this episode. Good memory.
Yeah, that was a while back.
Yeah, I can't even remember what I had for breakfast yesterday. So, anyway, so this album drops in what was it? Probably early summer of '85.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I forgot the dates. June 24th
Yeah.
and
So
June 28th for the other one.
6 months after Vince Neil was in the car crash, which took out the band Hanoi Rocks. We won't get into that here, folks. So, the crew got back into the studio with Tom Werman, and they put out this 10-song glam metal-ish, changing up the vibe. We're not devils anymore. Now we're into glam. Look at us. We're trying to look sexy, sexy guys, sexy. Okay. So, at the time, 85, I was 18, going on 18. There was a lot of hype for this record. I mean, it was huge. They were in all the magazines, good press, bad press. I mean, they were just out there, everybody. And, we're all buying the magazines and whatnot, what we could get our hands on Motley Crue. So when the album dropped, upon first listened as an 18-year-old, I really liked it. And then after a while, like a lot of records, they kind of goes to the back burner. And a lot of people over the years, over the last almost 4 decades, have trashed this. Is it as bad as people make it out to be? Well, yes and no. I can honestly say that the opener, City Boy Blues, has almost an Aerosmith sleazy feel to it. I like the cowbell in it. I like the verses. Even Vince pulls off some good singing on it. It's a good tune. I mean, Mick Mars carries it with his slide playing. Smoking in the Boys' Room? No. Never liked that version of the song. I did like the video. It was goofy. So when we had much music on, but no. That's next. Louder Than Hell. I thought it was a cool tune. I like that driving Nikki Sixx bass line. Is it him playing bass in the studio? Who knows? But it's a good grooving tune, catchy chorus. They like it louder than hell, Motley Crue, and so did we. So from there, you go on to what I would consider the best track on the album. That's Keep Your Eye on the Money. Bam, bam, bam. So good. The verses, the chorus, they keep your eye on the money, keep your eye on the dealer's hand. It is so good. Like Sister Morphine, Hooked on Her Game. Like Nikki Sixx is throwing all these lyrics, and it's like, yeah. As an 18-year-old, I'm just going, I'm lapping it up, man. Like, this guy's badass. Yeah. It's a great song, and I think it's the best song on the record. I just find it just kind of drags out, where they keep repetitive, keep your eye on the money, and they slow down the tempo. Da, 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 da. But I still think it is the best song on there. Home Sweet Home. I really like the video.
Okay.
And I thought they were playing the game of the power ballad, which, you know, a lot of people say that song, I think even Nicki Sixx says, saved the album, right? Took it into the multi-millions as opposed to be installed at $1 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought the video was well done because that's what us young little headbangers back then wanted to see was the live show. And that's what sold tickets. And you see girls in the video and you see Motley Crue and they're blowing up shit and they're just rocking and rolling from town to town. And you're thinking, wow, that's a rock star life. So video, like the video, song, so-so. Flip the side 2, Tonight We Need a Lover. Not bad. It's kind of weird how the tempo picks up as the song gets closer to the end. Bit of a different change for them. It was okay. Use It or Lose It. I like that Tommy Lee double bassin'. You know, I like that one line where he goes, Nicki Sixx wrote that Vince Neil sings, JFK, Marilyn Monroe, street fighting gypsy, Jax Russell. So, you know, or something like that. Yeah. But, you know, it was a pretty good song. I like the tempo of that one. Save Your Souls. Another one I also like. I think it's almost like Motley Crue / Black Sabbath, like sludge. You know, save our souls to the heavens. You know, this like drone of a guitar. And yeah, it's pretty good. Now the next song, what was it? Raise Your Hands to Rock. Trying a little too hard for a single. You know, you listen to the chorus, rock, rock. Now think back to 1984, 1985, folks, right? A lot of songs had rock in the title. Kids Wanna Rock, Rock You Like a Hurricane, an album by Wayne T called In Rock We Trust. On that same album is a song called Rock and Roll's Gonna Save the World.
I Wanna Rock, Twisted Sister.
And I Wanna Rock, you had Rock Out, Roll On by Triumph off the Thunder 7 album, like a lot of rock in these titles. So I just found that they were just trying too hard to write a hit. So that one to me kind of falls a little flat. And the last song on the album, which is
Fight for
Your Rights, Not to Party. No. Yeah, it's okay. So the production end of it, it's done by Tom Werman. And I just finished reading his book, and it's a great read, folks. You should pick it up. It's his autobiography written by him. He talks about this record a bit. He basically says, and it kind of makes sense, that back when he produced Shout at the Devil and that album exploded, they toured and toured and toured. So their agent, manager, and record company say, okay, Shout at the Devil ends here. We need a new album in 3 months because we're already booking your next tour. So they basically, you know, really had to jam pack this album. Plus they were dealing with what Vince was going through. Right. The production I thought was okay, not the best, you know. Going back, you know what? I'm giving this album a 5.5.
Okay. Wow. I am surprised. Okay. So I'm gonna go my usual track by track, give you my little thoughts, and then I'll give you my overall thoughts on the album. But what I will say before I get started is that I wasn't overly familiar with this one. I didn't really remember it. I haven't heard it as much as Too Fast for Love or Shout at the Devil, which are my usual go-to Motley Crue albums. So yeah, I was kind of listening to it with fresh ears. So here we go. City Boy Blues. It's a song that surprised me. You know, it starts slower and then it quickly kicks into high gear. And it kind of lets you know what you're in for. And it's actually a bit of a theme on the album. I noticed that a lot of songs kind of start slower tempo and then they pick up eventually. But I thought it was a good song, good starter. And Smoking in the Boys' Room. I know you're not a fan. Maybe it's kind of overplayed. I don't mind the song. I will show you this though. While I don't have the album on vinyl, I do have the single, Smoking in the Boys' Room, 7-inch, backed with Use It or Lose It.
Cool.
So, my only Motley Crue on vinyl. So for now, So I didn't realize it was a cover. I heard this one, when I was a kid on the radio or probably Much Music or wherever, which is a great video. You've reminded me. I do love the video with legendary B movie actor Michael Berryman, who plays the teacher, the principal, or whatever it was. Anyway, I didn't know it was the cover. So around 2006 or so, I'm watching a movie, Rock and Roll High School, the Ramones movie from 1979, and
Mhm.
there's a scene that takes place in the boys' room, and that song is playing, "Smoking in the Boys' Room." Like, is that Motley Crue? But it can't be. This movie is from '79. What's going on? And that's when I realized that there was an original song by, hold on, I have it right here, Brownsville Station.
Mhm.
Anyway, I like both versions, but again, this I've heard it so many times. It's like, whatever. Louder Than Hell is a great song. I agree with you, deKe. It definitely fits up there with Shout at the Devil for me. I thought it was kind of that vibe. It could have been on that album, but maybe I'm just associating the words devil and hell from both songs. Maybe that's why I think, hey, it's alike. But no,
Yeah.
I thought it could have been on that album. Keep Your Eye on the Money. I agree. That's just a straight up good rocker. Great rock song. Nothing more to say about it. It's consistent to the rest of the album. Home Sweet Home. You said it, deKe. It's the ballad. Everybody knows it. You've heard it on the radio. It was a hit. It was on all the compilations. Um, it. What did I say about it? I'm kind of tired of it too. Just like Smoking in the Boys' Room. It's the single. It gets played on the radio. I'm like, it's not that it's a bad song. It's just overexposure, right? I've heard it so many times, like, it doesn't come and hit me anymore, because I've heard it so many times. However, I will say that now when I hear it, I can't not think of the movie Hot Tub Time Machine with John Cusack. I've only seen that movie once when it was still fairly new, but that song is in that movie. Actually, it's the end credits, which I recommend people to watch it because I can't. It's with Rob Corddry. Anyway, check it out. I can't get. I hear that song. I think of Rob Corddry now. So and you know what? It's a funny scene, so that's okay. Side two. That opens up with the killer track "Tonight We Need a Lover," which is chock full of chugging guitars. And the guitars on this album, I'm gonna get into that a little later, but that's to me the guitars in the album are the takeaway. They shine. They kind of I don't know, almost overshadow everything else. But I'll get more on that later. Use It or Lose It, the B side of Smoking in the Boys' Room. That's another fast, catchy metal song. Nothing more to say about it. I dig it. Save Our Soul. That's pure heavy metal of the slower tempo variety, but an absolute banger no matter what. Raise Your Hands to Rock. That's a nice acoustic intro. And I think you said you didn't care too much for that one. I thought it was okay. I like the kind of lead in into that riff. The riff that's very reminiscent to "Feel Like Making Love" by Bad Company. With a down, 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 down. That's all I could hear. I'm like, man, this sounds like Bad Company, kind of. Um,
Oh,
oh, lawsuit. But I dug it. Catchy stuff. And of course, you had that powerful guitar solo, courtesy of Mick Mars. And then Fight for Your Rights. You stole my punchline, deKe. I was going to say, I have it written down right here. 1 year before the Beastie Boys told you to fight for your right to party, the Crew told you to fight for your rights in general. Again, not much to say about this one. It's a great way to close the album, and it's just a great fist pumping rock and roll song. So, like I said, I haven't listened to it much, and in memory, I thought it was okay in comparison to the first two. But listening to it again with fresh ears, I thought, hey, this is a pretty good album. It's not perfect, it's not better than the first two, but I find it stands well on its own, and yeah, I was surprised by it. I liked it a lot more than I remembered. Definitely not a bad album, and like I've hinted before a few times, the shining star here for me, it's not Vince Neil. It's not Tommy Lee. It's not even Nikki Sixx. It's Mick Mars. The guitars on here are incredible. Like I really dug it. Like just listening to it, I couldn't believe it. Like the solos, I'm like, whoa. For me, because I've heard the first two albums many times,
yeah.
and they're terrific. They're great albums. But I don't, for some reason, maybe it's because I haven't heard it as much, but they stuck out so much more. So I really like the guitars. What else? That's pretty much it. So I was impressed. It's not a perfect album, but I enjoyed my experience. So I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
Now on to Akadaka.
On to AC/DC. Okay, so as Jack says, when this album dropped 4 days later, Fly on the Wall, all us little headbangers back then, we all went and grabbed this basically the first day because it was AC/DC. Now, that same thing with like Motley Crue's Theater of Pain over the years, kind of getting a unfair shake. Fly on the Wall kind of is one of those albums as well that have gotten an unfair shake. But think about 1985, folks. Think about the sound of music back then. There was a lot of acts using drum machines, a lot of polished sounds, a lot of nice, beautiful melodic vocals, a lot of nice ballads. And then here comes Angus and Brian and company. They just plug into the Marshalls. They just crank it up. They crank the guitars up so much that they basically drown out Brian Johnson through certain parts of this record. And for me, that falls under the category of who gives a shit. Because for me, it's just the opposite of what everybody else was doing in 1985 to try and get on the radio. Angus and Malcolm said, nah, we're just going to continue kind of what we did with Flick of the Switch. We're just going to plug her in, get whoever is behind the control board to push record, and off we go. So the album opens up with the title track, Fly on the Wall. I love it. Once it really picks up steam and that chorus, I was trapped. The first two verses, when I first heard this album, I didn't know what the hell Brian Johnson was going on about, but I didn't care. All I knew is making love drunk or stoned, and then off they went into the Fly on the Wall. And, great tune, great opening tune. The second song, Shake Your Foundations, I-E-I-E-O, very catchy tune, It's just a good, fun track. First Blood, the third song, great pre-chorus into the chorus. First Blood, how they just, you hear their backing vocals, First Blood, bad dog, come back for more, it's, what you're getting with them, right? Danger, they take the foot off the gas pedal a bit, and right there is another good song. Almost sounds like Johnson just rolled out of bed and grabbed a mic and started singing, because it just sounds like he's in a lazy man's chair with his feet kicked back. Don't talk to strangers, and it's just a good chill vibe. Sink the Pink. My grade 11 English teacher at the time hated the video and hated the song, which we had a discussion in class about. But to us, it was just another fun song, Sink the Pink. It's all the fashion, drink the drink, right? So we're all drinking the drink. We're drinking the AC/DC drink. Now, when you flip over to side 2, Playing with Girls, now that is, to me, typical AC/DC boogie rock, 1985 style. I just love the driving beat of the boogie woogie Angus Malcolm guitars. I love the chorus where Johnson says, playing with girls, going to get you hot, and that snare and guitar, bam, bam, bam. Playing with girls, going to get you hot, bam, bam. It's just like such a great tempo. Stand Up, the next tune, another good one. Stand up and face it. Like they're saying, bring it on, man, bring it on, mother truckers and whatnot. And AC/DC swinging. They're swinging back then because they didn't have the big sales. Their sales had tailored off from each album up and basically till Razor's Edge came out a few 5 years later. But at that point, they were kind of in no man's land. But to me, they were still putting out great stuff. Hell or High Water. I like Simon Wright's kick in with the drums at the beginning. It's a good driving tune. Back in Business and Send for the Man. They're okay. Like they don't really pull me in that much. Like I'll listen to them, but they're not like, yeah, man, I'm going to go back to them all the time and stream them or even listen to them on the record. Like I'll let the record play through. Let's put it that way. And whatnot. But overall, I can honestly say that with this AC/DC record, there's really nothing wrong with the first 8 songs. I mean, the production is raw. It's in your face. And, sometimes, when the mood hits, that album just nails you right in the kisser, right what you need to hear at any certain point any certain time. Just sometimes you're like, yeah, I really like this record. So today I can honestly say I will give Fly on the Wall an 8.
All right. Very good. Very good. So I'm going to follow the same format again. I'll go through the tracks real quick and then say my general thoughts. But I think you'll be able to pick up pretty quickly on my enthusiasm. But yeah, like you said, deKe starts off, drops the needle, Fly on the Wall. It opens the album perfectly, and it really sets the tone. And it shows you right out of the gate that what you can expect for the album. Kind of like Theater of Pain did the same thing.
Yeah.
Because from this point forward, the album is just extremely consistent, as we'll see. Shake your foundations, dude. Like you said, that chorus where they go, I shake your foundations. And I remember hearing that, and I got it right away. I'm like, I know what they mean. Foundation, it's the bottom part of a house. So they're saying, shake your bottom. Look, I'm shaking my foundation. I. Okay. Sorry, I've lost like 50% of our viewers, but hey, sue me. I'm having fun because life's too short.
So we're down to 3 people watching.
So let's just move on, shall we? But no, shake your foundations. I love it. I mean, it was so good. They brought it back for the following year on Who Made Who, the soundtrack to Maximum Overdrive. Actually, 2 songs on here made it on Who Made Who, which we'll see. But you got a good song when they put it on a compilation next year. First Blood. You said it. I was looking at the lyrics for the song because I'm like, I'm not quite sure what it's about. And I was wondering, is it in relation to the movie First Blood from '82, the first Rambo movie? And I can safely say that it is not. It is in no way related to the film. I'm not even sure what they're going out about. I have a hunch it's sexual, but I mean, that's kind of a given. That's kind of a given. It's the Bad Dog lyric that has me all confused and unsure. I'm like, what's that about? No matter what, it is a catchy song and I like it. Danger, that was actually the first single that was released from the album. If I'm being honest, it might just be my least favorite. Don't hate it, but I think if I'm thinking of all the songs, probably my least favorite. I don't know. It's kind of a slower one, and it just doesn't come out and grab me as much as the others. But I still like it. Sink of the Pink, another consistently solid track, and that's the other one that was on the Who Made Who compilation the following year. Now we flip the record and go on to side 2, Playing with Girls. My favorite song on this album. As soon as it starts and you hear that Brian, oh man, it's a great AC/DC song. I can't get enough of it. When it gets to that song, I've only ever listened to it on CD, so I can only imagine like flipping it over on when you're listening to it on vinyl or even on cassette tape. Just what a great starter to side 2. It's I always look forward to it when I'm listening to it. Stand Up and Take It. Nothing more to add about this one. It fits the AC/DC formula perfectly. Hell or High Water. I love the guitar work on that one, and I can't stress how catchy that the songs on this album are. All of them, like in Hell or High Water, just once again it just fits. Back in Business. I know you said you're not too much a fan, deKe. I wrote one word. Awesome. Like that chorus.
Fair enough.
Because it's that chorus, back in business again. That to me, it's one of those powerful rockers, like, I don't know. For me, just like, yeah, it makes me feel good, like we're back in business. Send for the Man, that's actually one song I had forgotten for some reason. So it's kind of a nice surprise every time I listen to it. I'm like, oh yeah, I always forget about that one. It's a good closer, and I think it fits perfectly with the rest of the album. So, in summary, I think people might have figured it out. I'm a huge fan of Fly on the Wall. Okay. I often cite it as being my favorite AC/DC album. It's one of my favorites. It's because it's hard for me to pick a favorite when it comes to AC/DC. It's definitely a top album. I usually go between that one and Power Ridge. I love them both. I think they're both underrated. And to me, it's just perfect because it stands apart from the other Johnson era AC/DC albums. I would kind of, after a while, it was just like formulaic and they all kind of start to sound the same. As for this one, and even Flick of the Switch that came before it a little bit, I don't know, they're different. They were being different around this time. And I dig that. What else am I saying? Some will argue that the production isn't so great. Like I remember my buddy Reg, Reg the Sledge. You see, I got friends that have cool nicknames too. Uh, he was saying how it sounds like they recorded it from a tin can. Like they used, like that sounds so bad. This album, how can you like it? Sounds like they recorded it using a tin can. I'm like, that to me is the charm. I
Yeah.
like that raw production, just like you said, deKe. So yeah, to me, that's not a problem. It's not a problem. It's the same thing for if you look at Kiss, Hotter Than Hell. I like that album for the same reason. It's one of my favorite Kiss albums, and it sounds like I've heard someone say it sounds like they recorded it in a tunnel. To me, that adds charm. I like all of the songs here. There is no filler. I don't consider any of them to be filler. I like the
Good.
artwork a lot as well. I love the colors of the fans. I love the look of the fly. It's yeah. All the boxes are getting checked. So I know I'm a bit biased. Like I said, it's a favorite of mine, but I gotta hit it with a 10. There's no
Wow.
other way.
Wowzers. Hey, fair enough, man. That's how you feel. It's all good. That's what it's about.
Wouldn't be right otherwise.
And guess what's back?
But oh, the cards.
The cards. Crue. 13.5.
In second place. And your winner.
The Fly on Jax's Wall. 18. There's this week's winner.
Man, that wasn't even a tight one.
No, it wasn't. Hey, shit happens, man.
No, but I love it because you know what? I had no idea where it was going. Well, it's pretty much like that every time. I had no idea where you were at. I had no idea where it was going. I didn't know if you were a huge Theater of Pain fan. You could have been, but it went the other way. That you're really not a fan. So I was like, oh, that's a surprise, So
Well, I'm a fan of it sometimes, and not a fan of it. I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be. It's not not that good. It's just a band surviving. I think it's a survival record in a time when they're all messed up, right? But I agree with you 100% that when you really think back to it, Mick Mars, his playing on it, save their asses basically, and good chops. AC/DC, same thing. I mean, I don't have a problem with the first 8 songs. I don't have a problem with the production. I like it. I just like that they plugged in and let it rip. They weren't farting around with synths or any of that studio shit. They were just AC/DC, man. You know what you're getting. It's like going to McDonald's. You know what you're getting.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, it was all good. So me and Jex, the next time you folks see us together, we're gonna be shifting gears. We're not going to be doing a retro throwdown together. We're going to be doing something a little different, and it's going to be coming at you soon. We're not going to give away anything. We're just going to record it, and we're just going to throw it out there and see if our 5 viewers will watch it.
And I'm looking forward to this because I was telling deKe, I said, deKe, we should do a project in the future where we're not battling it out. We should just do something like just shoot the shit and so it's going to be fun. It's going to be different.
It's going to be different, and it's going to be limited. It's going to probably be anywhere from 3 to 5 episodes, and then that'll be that. And then we'll move on back to some throwdowns, or we might mix up some throwdowns in them. I don't know what we're going to do, but we'll talk about it. Off screen, and we'll figure out a plan. But as always, folks, thanks for watching, and Jex, I'll let you sign off, buddy.
That's pretty much it, man. I think you said it best. Thanks for watching, and make sure to tune in because we will be back with Retro Throwdown. We have a few ideas, and that's it. Take care of yourselves, and look at my shirt.
Thanks to our friend T-Bone for the cool shirts.
Yes. Thank you so much, T-Bone, and we're showing them off, and we shouldn't because they're not publicly available, but we're the hosts of the show, so come on. Yes, we deserve some shirts.
Yeah, unless somebody out there can find a bootlegger and do it. Hey, more power to you. So good talking, or thanks for watching, folks, and we'll